do some problem solving. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I've showed you the basics. Now you all figure it out and what you think is going to work, because this is what's going to work.
Hey, welcome back to Two Old Crows Homestead. This is Shelly, and I am not on my homestead today. I'm actually out here at Jason's place at Kentucky Sustainable Living. You can see back there his donkeys back over there and some Juliana pigs that he has. But I'm over here today for a medical training put on by Chuck Peebles, and he's got his son Chase here to help him. And this is actually the second day. Yesterday we learned a lot, but it was mostly kind of lecture indoor stuff. Today we're going to do a lot more hands-on, and I'm hoping to be able to catch some of that on video and bring you along with me. This is, look at this donkey. Can you see him? I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. Are you a boy or a girl? But oh my gosh, he's so cute. Check him out. Check him out. I feel like I need a donkey. He's so soft. His ears are just velvety soft. Yeah. I think he's a mini. I'm pretty sure he is. Yeah, he's a soft guy. It's a miss. Aww. But this medical class that we're doing is actually, I almost bent his fence. This medical class that we're doing is, it's not a, like I've had a first responder class, where I work at. I'm one of the first responders. So I've had one of those classes that's like, CPR, first aid, what to do in the event of an emergency. He's a good boy. It's a miss. But that's not this class. This class is kind of a next level thing. Like, what do you do next? What do you do if you have somebody that has a wound and you have to take care of that wound for a month? How do you do sutures? You know, it's like that next level of care if you can't get somebody to the hospital or the doctor or something like that. And that's what this class is. Now, obviously, Chuck can't teach us everything that we would need to know in 2 days. But I have learned a bunch, and I'm very thankful for that. So, yeah, I'll see what kind of footage I can get for you all today so you can check out what we're doing. And, we'll see what's happening.
Well, they've never even practiced that. Oh, I can pack one. I know where. No, you can't. You don't know until you work. Practice on the little one too. Get that for those wound trainers. You know, get it on there. Use the quick clot gauze. Yep. I always want to film that. That'll be something that I promise you a lot of classes don't get that heavily into.
Chuck Willa.
Practicing wound packing here. Is that your first section of gauze?
She used the combat gauze on that one.
I used the whole combat gauze.
Which is 4 yards.
So that's 4 yards.
I told him I used the combat gauze on.
And it's still not even fully packed.
No, all this was in there.
It's longer. That's 3 yards.
It just felt like it packed different.
It does pack it. It's got a very tight weave. Wound
that was
packing
in there,
gauze is
and
the
you still
same
had
thing.
more room.
You can use regular gauze, but
That's
that's why I want you to feel the difference on the why. Well, I could just use rolled gauze. You can, but you'll see a difference when you actually feel it, because then you start thinking, oh, it's thicker. It's probably going to cleave.
Okay.
The only difference.
Packing a gun strap wound, Jason?
Right.
Yeah, I got shot
The
in the
only difference
crotch.
is $50. Wound packing gauze. $2.
Sucks when that happens. Having a bad day.
I would rather be able to have more than have. I mean,
At least it was
great,
Chase that
that's
shot
all.
me, and
But
he's
I'll
not
be
a good
honest with
shot.
you, the difference in clot, you're still stopping the bleeding. You may stop it a little bit quicker and help. But if you pack it right with that wound packing gauze, they have the same Yeah.
Maybe there's some of this.
Check out
but it's
Jason's
on the
new
back
wheelchair throne.
type of situation
Right.
in your
This is his latest, greatest find. He's so excited about. I'm gonna be honest with you though. People that had to sit in these back in the day were not comfortable because it is not comfortable.
No.
It's comfortable.
It's not comfortable.
It's totally comfortable. I've sat in it all day.
That's why you had to go get that towel yesterday and
They
put
still
in
a
it.
concrete floor.
It's better than sitting on the floor.
I wouldn't sit on the floor
He's
either.
just doing it because it's his throne.
It's
That's
his
what he likes
throne,
to say.
yeah.
It's his throne, so that way he can say he's King Jason.
Hey, if it wasn't in such good shape, I was going to paint the wheels.
Hey, you know what? I would have bought that. I'm just gonna be honest with you because that really is. It's a cool antique to have, and especially that's just an odd piece of medical thing.
Oh,
This is something essential that you should have. $8, $7 now, I think. But this is the Sam splint. It says Sam all over. This is a generic Sam splint. I don't remember who made this. Guess what?
It still works.
It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. I'm going to pass these around. And this one, you got to remember, I've used these a lot in training, so they'll lose some of the stiffness and stuff. This is a newer one versus this one. This is an actual Sam splint. This is a generic. I carry Sam splints. This is one I keep in one of my kits. What happens with a broken bone?
Hurts.
Well, it hurts. What else? Yeah, your ends that are supposed to be together, right? We now have a break. Movement does this. How do you think that feels?
It hurts.
What else is it doing?
Breaking off more pieces.
Damages.
Yeah.
We want it to grow back, right? We want it to heal back. That's why they put casts on, right? They straighten it. But now, do they sometimes go in and do surgical intervention, putting in pins to provide more stability? Yeah.
Right.
Can we do that if we can't get to modern medical care? No. So if we want to try to splint, promote healing, we want to lessen movement, right? Lessen damage. That's why we splint. And it's pain relief. We're obviously trying to help that person. We don't want them to hurt, right? But what do you notice between those two splints? Anything? As far as how they're built and rigidity, do you notice anything?
It felt like that cheap one was a little bit thicker than the sand.
It is. It is.
Doesn't quite bend as well.
Yeah. So get what you can get. We're going to do an arm.
Get ready for the
So we take it, we want to measure it, right? And let's say Chase has a break right here. I want to immobilize this arm. Well, the first thing I want to do, we got our hands doing here. So what do? And this is going past the elbow a little bit. I want to shorten this up. So what I like to do, and I've used it extensively for this, and this really helps, bend it over. Now, instead of his fingers moving around, what does he have? Provides
Something to
comfort.
grip onto.
I then can mold this around his arm. I've provided, I'm going to reduce movement. And then, how much are these? Cheap, right?
You
About
can buy those in case-like quantities too.
12. I think I bought a case, and this is some of the, I like the ones with the Velcro. I don't even know where I got this. This is just an old one I threw out. I hadn't used yet for training. You can get these with the pins. These are a little cheaper. I just don't like them because these pins are a pain in the ass. And guess what you're going to do? You're
Lose
going to
'em.
poke yourself. I promise you. I do it all the time. That's why I hate them.
We
I
lose them.
like Coban. I've got a bunch.
Coban is great. What else could you use? Duct tape.
Gorilla tape. So it really
If you're going to do it on, do we want to put duct tape on bare skin?
No.
So what could we put over this?
Gauze.
Gauze. Bandana if you don't have gauze. Take some gauze, protect it, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to provide stability. And this is why I like using Ace bandages, is because what does it do also? Provide some compression too, right? So we go through, and all I'm going to do, and this is why I like a 6-inch or 4-inch where it's bigger like this, because it provides. So we're just going to wrap this. Here, hold that.
Another advantage to Velcro. You can Velcro it If you have to do it yourself, you don't have to use the pins. I hate the pins too. I stab myself every time. And I use them for like the dog, like stuff like that. Like in my kids, I have the Velcro ones because if I have to do a SAM splint on me or on my 6-year-old or anybody, I don't have to poke them.
You can buy these also where they're shorter, they're not as long, there's different, and Sam even puts one, I'm just putting a tape just to hold this, but now, no, come here. Everybody come
tight.
up here.
I'm telling you from here, it's tight and I'm able to still move with it though. If I have to leave where I'm at or hike out or pack out or make it back to the barn.
Is that gonna keep it from moving?
Oh, doggone, that's like a cast.
Yeah, so now what we can do is we can take his arm, and do that, and we can form, here's another piece of wonderment that costs $1 or $2, the cravat. Triangular bandage, whatever you want to call it. It's a piece of cloth, but what else could you use if you don't have one of these? It's ridiculous not
I
to
make
have
quilts.
one
I
of
have tons of cloths.
these. Yeah, you can make this,
I got
tear
a
bed sheet
t-shirt.
up,
Yeah.
tear whatever. So we can take these and I can unfold this, but what can I do with this? I can form, yeah, I
Yeah.
can make a sling out of it if I need to, right?
Yeah.
Now, and we want to keep it up because if we let his arm hang, what's that going to do pain-wise? Blood's going to flow down.
Yeah.
So if we keep it elevated, remember our old first aid class, what they say? Remember one of the first things before they did tourniquets was direct pressure, then elevation, right?
Right.
We're reducing the blood flow. We're not restricting, we're reducing. And with this, now I can form just a quick little sling to give him support, and I can even bring this out. I can fasten this to here. Here, now look at this. Now I'm immobilizing at the shoulder all the way around, tying his arm to himself so his body is acting like an additional splint. Now there's no movement. This arm is protected. I tie this up. How much have I spent? Is that worth
Yeah.
$15?
Yeah.
Maybe this is how much all this costs. And as small and compact it is, why wouldn't you keep it in an everyday bag?
Right.
Hey Chuck, can you do the twist when you're wrapping that? Do the twist and make it a little bit tighter?
You can, but it's not
Yeah.
needed because your rigidity is coming from the splint, right?
Gotcha.
And all of this doing is forming the splint in, so it's hold. You don't want it loose, but you don't want it too tight.
Where it's cutting circulation.
Exactly. So you could see what this has done. Now, can you buy a commercial sling and all that? You sure can.
Yeah.
You sure can. But you can provide this. So this is something, so if you're out somewhere, you've got 100 acres, right? You're on the other end, somebody gets hurt, you do this, you can walk them out, ride them out, do whatever, put them on the back of a four-wheeler, tractor, whatever, and this is going to be comfort. Their arm's not moving around, right? But if you even don't have any of this, you make them the splint. Hold your arm.
Yeah.
Do just like that, because guess what they're going to do anyway?
Hold
They're
their arm.
automatically going to do this
Yeah.
because it's going to be the most comfortable right here. So we've provided all this, and obviously it's sloppy because I haven't done, but you make this nice and neat, and you get it to where this is elevated slightly above at an angle, but also where it's comfortable on him. And you can put this up under where it's up, but do you see how it's created? It's just a sling and swath, and what you're doing is you're immobilizing the arm all the way to the body too. So the body is acting as a splint too. It's helping with your immobilization. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right.
Because you want it to be
I've
fairly
given enough
tight.
Shelley needs to add first. So that's the first day since last week I didn't use her soap, so. I And I will say,
That's
that is good soap.
It is good soap.
Feel that now. Up in
There's
here.
3 or 4 splints. Grab that stuff if you need some more
See?
ice wrap or whatever. Gauze, let
And
me know,
it's-
and I'll do
it-
some.
and that's
Practice
not-
doing it with both.
That's not too tight.
And
It
if you
doesn't
want
like
to
it's got no
practice
circulation or
fixing
anything.
the sea collar,
So you
practice
want
on
it, like I
neck
said,
brace
because if you have
on
to,
each other. So with this neck brace,
Had a bad sweeping accident.
we don't want to double it up because obviously it's not going to go around. So what we have to do is we're going to put this around. We want to fix it, and you can double it over in the back, but we've got all this. You could do this. You've got scissors. Cut it, right? And what we want to do is you don't want it to choke them, and we want to provide support. So right where the chin's going to be, even if you have to measure it, remember this is pliable. Bend this down. So what do we have now? We have a cup, because you know what they're going to say? Oh, it's choking me, it's choking me. What do we tell them? If they're talking, are they choking?
No.
Are they breathing?
Yes.
If they're talking, exactly. So it may be uncomfortable for them, but that's what we could do. And you're going to have people, different anatomies. Jason's got a little bit longer of a neck. But we put this around, now we've got effectively a C-collar if we're worried about spinal injuries, right? And we can provide this, even this looks sloppy, but we're obviously going to form this around. Then you can tape it, do whatever, and now we're protecting that. You've got him splinted everybody's arms, and you may have this. You may have somebody who's fallen, puts their arms out, it's pretty common, and injures both arms. So, you know, buy these in tasteful, buy several, whatever. I'm sure, contact Jake. He may be able to do bulk buys with you know, stay, he's part of the community, stuff like that, you know, and get that to where you can buy, go in together, do a group buy. Ankles, tib, fib area, pretty common, right? Especially ankles, right? So, different ways. How do you think we're going to do an ankle? We want to provide
Go
support,
under the
but what does
foot.
an ankle do? Do we want to go for the back? Do we want to do for the side? Depends, right? Yeah, we can form it up. So if this is the foot, we can form it up, do the same thing we did with the arm, right?
Right.
Provide support all the way up to the toes. Or
Could open it up and go up
we
each
can
side.
open it up,
Yeah.
going up each side, we provide that support for the ankle, because what's the ankle going to do? On that axis where it goes into, where that bone goes into the foot, kind of like your wrist, right?
Yeah.
So it goes like this, so this is your foot, right here is your ankle. It can go back and forth that foot.
Yeah,
So
you
if
can
we
go
go
all
up the
around.
side to prevent that movement, what are we doing? We're protecting it, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to fold up this way, and we want to go as far up as we can. Why?
More stability.
More stability, right? So we go like this, and what we want to do is assess, just like we would do with the hands. How do we assess it's not too tight, we still have circulation? We can go for pulses, the
Yeah.
toe, right? Remember our capillary refill?
Yeah.
Same thing. That's how we're going to do assessment. After everything's done, we're going to assess it. Hey, do you feel everything? Ask them, pinch it. Do you feel this? Do you feel me pinching your toe? Hand, finger, same thing. Assess that capillary refill, right? Ongoing assessment. We're going to assess our treatment too. Always, right? Just remember the tourniquet when we said those muscles may relax once the adrenaline shows up, wears off. We want to check that tourniquet because those muscles can be very rigid when that injury first happens. That's an automatic response from our nervous system to tense everything up. So as those muscles relax, that tourniquet could loosen up a little bit, right? We might have to return. So we're reassessing our treatment always.
Right.
So this is one way. This is very common for the ankle, provide support. How do you think we would wrap that?
Would you start at the ankle and go up?
You could, or
Or
you
on the
start, do a couple turns right at the base of the ankle,
Yeah.
go underneath,
Yeah.
and then wrap that way, right?
I like to tape an ankle for sports.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly the same thing. I'm sure people who play sports football, have you ever had an ankle taped up? If you watched how they did it, you know how did it give that support? Gives it,
Oh, yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So while Chase is laying there being a dummy, practice on him. Take your other boot off, Chase. They can do both feet.
Chase has been a klutz. He's broke both of his ankles.
I know, he's been, he's
And
been
he is-
stabbed, he's been,
Hey, I broke one leg already.
The really,
he has broken a leg.
the really bad thing is that he's stuck with us doctoring him.
That's right.
So I'm dead. Jason's already got the whole dugout back.
Jason's taking your
Well, he's got a tractor. He can
But
get
do
it
you
pretty
think
quick.
these are valuable skills?
Yeah.
Do you think this is something you should know and should learn and should
Oh,
practice
yes.
and know how to do it?
Yes.
How to manipulate this piece of equipment and use it to the best benefit. This is why we learn things like this. Yes, tourniquet use, wound packing, all that, we went over it. We emphasize it, but this is kind of meat and potato stuff that is more likely to happen on your homestead if we don't have modern health care available or it's going to be delayed. This is something we can provide real world care to provide comfort, less damage to our loved ones, right?
So if you get them wrapped up and then like their feet start going numb, you've got it too tight, right?
Correct.
Unwrap it.
We're gonna check
Okay.
that capillary refill, right? There could be some numbness from what? We break a
From
bone,
injury.
what happens?
Yeah.
Yeah, from
And then-
swelling, right? It's gonna swell up. So what else can we give
How's it
them
feel?
You're perfect on that right leg.
on
It's
treatment?
tight and it's stable.
Ibuprofen or
Ibuprofen,
Tylenol or
why?
whatever. 'cause
Why? No, ibuprofen. Why ibuprofen? Why would that
that
be
helps to
preferred?
reduce swelling.
It's not anti-inflammatory also, right?
Right.
Are we going to have inflammation?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely
Yeah.
with a break. Absolutely. And you know what's worse? A
Chase, how you
sprain.
doing?
Yeah.
Okay?
Gotta
A
run out
sprain,
of
literally a severe
You're
sprain,
good.
takes
Oh.
longer to heal,
No,
and it hurts
how's it
more than a
feel?
break.
Oh, it's fine.
Because
You're not too
I
tight.
told you that story
You could
yesterday. When I
honestly
had a severe
go
sprain in
ahead
my
and
ankle,
tighten.
the
Yeah.
doctor flat out,
I was running
as a
out of
paramedic, I
No,
heard
you're
the
fine.
papa, oh, it's broken.
But yeah, we
It's
told him-
broken. Did the x-ray? No. Doctor, you'd be better off if you did break. It would hurt less, it would heal quicker. And when I did break my ankle, that was the truth.
On a
It
big one
healed
like
quicker
this,
and it
that's
hurt less.
definitely where the
Right.
wider- it's
So what
not
else
just-
can we do for a broken bone now that we've got it splintered? What's continued treatment we can do? Ibuprofen because ibuprofen's a what?
Anti-inflammatory. And
a pain
then you
reducer,
can
right?
ice it
But
too,
what do we
right?
want to ask this person first before we give them any medication?
Are you allergic?
Are you allergic? Exactly, right? Can you take ibuprofen?
No, I'm
Do you
not.
have anything,
I live on
has your doctor
ibuprofen.
ever told you, because do you have bleeding, right? Do you have a problem? Do you take blood thinners, anything like that, whatever contraindication? Same stuff that's on the bottle that nobody ever reads,
Right.
right? But if we're treating somebody we don't know, it's not a family member, we don't know their medical history, it's important we know those things, right?
Does it
So
help
what
to
else
ice
can
it
we now
too?
do?
Can you ice it
Exactly, we're gonna ice it. Why?
to reduce
Reduces
swelling?
Inflammation. We reduce the inflammation. That swelling's doing what? It's pushing in on nerves. It's pushing in on muscles. It's pushing in on where the point of injury is, right?
Mm-hmm.
That inflammation, that fluid that's causing that inflammation around the skin area. So we put that ice because it reduces it also. How long do we want to ice it?
20
The
minutes.
3
minutes.
rounds of 20.
3 rounds of 20. 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off. 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off, 20 minutes on. Reduce that inflammation.
Why do you only do? Because when I broke mine, I know I did it for more than 20 minutes. It's all that made it feel better. But so is it damaged something?
It
or-
can, and we want to give it a break because we don't want to cause what?
Frostbite.
Frostbite.
Oh,
You're
so-
exposed to
yeah.
cold, right? Even though you may have a layer. That's why we never put ice directly on skin. Even an ice pack or whatever, we always want a cloth, something like that in between. Whereas this, now, would we want to split it like this with his pants and sock on?
No.
First thing we're going to do is remove the sock. Why?
This
So you
is
can touch
swelling?
his toes.
You could see the injury. We want
Yeah.
to cut and remove everything so we can see the injury. We're down to skin. And also, because his toes are exposed, we can then do what? Reassess that capillary refill, right? And if for some reason Chase decided to paint his toenails, because that's a thing today apparently,
Just
fingernails, where do we touch?
just
At the end of the finger.
Females painted. Can you see that capillary refill with nail polish on? No. So at the end of the tip, we can do that. And remember, we can do that really anywhere. We can reassess. Remember when we were assessing to see if somebody's cold? You know, Remember when we pushed on their belly to see if that central area is good? It's simple assessment stuff. We don't need all the little tools. We can have this. If you're not carrying this stuff with you, if it's not close by, we can still do a proper assessment. Now do you see what always ties into every bit of treatment we're doing?
Yeah, the assessment. Yeah.
That's why we spent so much time on it. Does it make sense now?
And even
I know it's not
reassessment.
cool, fun stuff,
Right.
but do you see it tying in?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's important.
Makes sense.
What if you got to, are we gonna do like immobilizing the knee?
We can.
Would you do a SAM splint on each side and wrap it?
Can,
That was
absolutely.
my-
You could
that was my
take
first
two,
thought,
bring it
use
up,
two.
or if it's a knee, we may want to do 3 or 4 SAM splints. One up each side, one up the back. We could even do one up the front. Wrap it real good, do duct tape. We've immobilized that whole leg, have we not?
Leg straight.
Exactly. Make sure the toes are exposed wide.
Same thing to us.
Exactly. I want you to look at something. Now these are closed now, but these wounds, was a long one. People were practicing stapling that I'll let do, but look how that's closed up. Now these staples are really close together. You normally wouldn't put them that close together. You don't need to, this is overkill. But this spacing right here is about right, but look how the wound is closed. And you can see, like, look at this one. See the spacing? No gaps.
Right, it's
That's
not
closed
like
up.
jumping open.
And guess what? Every single one of you could order one of these right now.
They sell
Look
those
up-
on Amazon.
Look up on Amazon, skin stapler. I want you to look because I want you to see what the price is.
I was gonna say they're not expensive.
They're
I've
cheap.
looked them up before.
They're cheap.
Like less than $15, I think.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
learn how to use them today. You're gonna put staples in. But here's the other thing. We're gonna learn. Look at this wound. This looked pretty significant. We had to take care of that, right? That's it's a pretty big gaping wound, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna learn how we're gonna clean this, properly take care of this before we either pack it or we close it. Because that looked like it could be closed easily. You're not closing that with
Yeah, I
staples.
would have thought it'd be hard.
It's gonna be hard to close that with staples. All right. You could close it to about right here and probably to about right here, but this gapping, you're gonna have to use sutures for that. We just don't have time to dive into sutures, but we're gonna do staples. I'm gonna show you, but we're gonna learn first how to clean the wound. The most important thing you do. We've got bleeding stopped, right? So we talked about packing the wound, doing all that. Let's say we had that wound yesterday, right? We got it. We stopped the bleeding. Obviously, probably not a tourniquet, but let's just say it was significant bleeding. We elected to pack that wound. Be okay to pack that? Absolutely. You packed it, you bandaged it, right? You can even put a pressure dressing over that. Okay? We want to prevent infection, correct? What else do we want to do? What's our main goal?
Close it back up.
Heal it, right?
Yeah.
We want to promote healing. Cleanliness promotes healing, right? So, doing so, going to ensure that we prevent infection, right? But with the healing, we want to keep it clean, healthy tissue so it will heal properly, all right? So what we're going to do is a nice big syringe. Now, Jace, what size of those syringes do you use? 20?
I got everything from like 1 cc to 60.
So this is a 60 cc syringe. This is a Toomey syringe, all right? The difference is you see this long nozzle. Hey Chase, will you get to the big 60 cc syringe? It's either in that black bag or one of those. The reason I like these is, you see this end on it? I can direct this into a wound, and I can get a pretty good straight stream, because when I clean this, I want some force on this. As I'm cleaning this out with water, flushing it, I want it to really get a good stream to wash out any contaminants, any little thing that gets in there, and I want to get a good force. All right. So with this little, basically nozzle, if you want to call it, I've got that on there with the Toomey. You had some Toomey syringes too. Now you have some that have more of a flat blunt tip. Black bag. I'll check it here. Get one of these. Might be in the bag. Just want to show you the difference in between the two. So how are we going to clean it first of all? What are we going to use?
Either saline, or if you don't have saline, you can use tap water, right?
You can. So we want to use, number one, we want to get, do we see any big contaminants in there? And we may have to get a couple little tools where we may need some forceps or tweezers, basically. And we may need some hemostats. And we want to go in any, I found some hair in this. Do I want a hair in my cut? No. So what I want to do is I want to go in, and you got to get in, and you may have to take something like another pair of hemostats. Look into that, make sure we're getting all contaminants. And I'm going to leave some of this in here for the purpose of when we flush this out, we're going to see the difference. But we want to clean all that out. So we may have to clean out some leaves, crap, whatever could have got in it, however they cut. Because we're probably going to be around some dirt and crap when this happens, right? You're going to cut it on a fence post. You're going to cut it on some wire, some rusty wire. So when we do this, we can use saline, or we can use tap water. We still have running like a treated water system, in other words. You know, well water, if you're drinking it, probably safe to use it, right? What if you don't have that syringe?
Wow.
What's your
Poke a hole.
bottle of water? How many ounces are in here? 16. You can take make a little slit, little hole in the cap, right? And here's our cut. Now, we look in there, there's some white stuff, there was black stuff, there was some dirt that's in there. How's that look now? Except for there's a little hair right there that we can get out. But there's nothing in there, is it?
All right.
This is Deer Park spring water. Semi-free water. Pretty simple, right? And we want a lot of water. Now, this is a little slit. You'd be better for a little hole. But direct that stream. And this is a pretty good stream that's coming out. And your force, you can hear it, right?
Yeah, it's cleaning it out.
And you want to start on one end, and you want to direct it down to where it runs out, all right? And you want copious amounts. You want to really clean this out good, okay? Get all the contaminants with good, clean water. It's just bottled water. So if you're out somewhere, maybe you don't have all this stuff, but I bet you're going to have some bottled water. Now, temperature of the water would make a difference, right? Do we want ice cold water to go in there? It's going to hurt, and what could we cause? They might be in mild shock. You know, they might be, depending on this. It's not that big of a cut, but we're kind of looking at aftercare, so hopefully they're good. So room temperature water is good, right? We don't want it too hot. We don't want it too cold, because remember, our skin is a protector, largest organ in our body, right? But when we open it up, it's not as tough on the inside, is it? So you've got to think about, now, you see I'm putting a good amount of force, right? Right? You want that, but you don't want too much. You don't want to like just slam in like, you know, like a pressure washer, you know, because you could damage that fluid, right? So a simple thing like this, and how many plastic bottles you got laying around? You can make this, put
Yeah.
clean water in it. If you know when you're putting clean water in it, it's okay. You want to start at one end and you want to flush it out. Okay? Now you want to think about too, where's our cut at? Where's our laceration at? If we have something on our head around our eyes, flush it away from the eyes, right? We don't want it to go down. You may even want to hang their head if we're able to, if there's no risk of trauma or anything, aggravating injury. Hang that head back so that runs down. We're not running into our eyes, mouth, nose, stuff like that. But let gravity work with us, right? So if it's on an arm, cuts right here, flush it from the top so that stuff runs out, down, and away, not back in, right? A constant travel. And you saw me a couple times do this, you could do that, but most of the time you just want to do it on one end and flush out the other. You may have to pinpoint certain areas and flush it a little better, but that's what you want to do. So it's important that we clean it and clean up around. Take gauze or anything, blot any excess water and stuff out, all right? Just dab it out. You can take a cotton swab, you're gonna go through a lot of cotton swabs. Take some gauze, 4x4, you know, something like that. An absorbent pad, and this is, she was mentioning the non-stick absorbent pads. This is what this is. All right, you can feel it if you want. You can see the difference.
Slick.
These are the non-stick.
Yeah.
So you're just going to take, and you're going to go into your wound, dab it out. Because do we want to do this?
No,
Why don't we want to do this?
because
Clean
that'll
it out?
hurt.
It's going to hurt.
might
and
cause
think
more
about
injury.
exactly how delicate is that flesh that's in there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So go in, dab that out. We want to get it dry. And you may have some blood. You may see some capillary, a little bit of bleeding. So don't freak out. It's flesh, skin, it's supposed to. But if you see that capillary bleeding, you know what that already tells you? It's healing. You got good. What should this flesh look like inside?
Pink.
Just like this. Very good representation. It should be pink because this is a good representation of your dermis layers of your skin, right? And you look in, you get, but yeah, that flesh underneath should have a pink, good pink, healthy. It should look like a good juicy, meat. When you're looking, when you slice into a perfectly cooked steak, that medium rare look, that's what your flesh should look like. Okay. So we're gonna dry that out real good. And now we can care for it. Now we can evaluate, do we need to repack this? And if we're gonna repack it, what do we wanna do with our gauze? The big one, yeah. What do we wanna do with it?
We're repacking it.
Yeah, if we're gonna repack it,
wanna wet
again, you wanna wet it. Saline again. And if not, if all you've got is tap water or bottled water, you wanna get it slightly damp, put it in there. Why?
Oh, wet the cut, not the gauze.
The gauze.
Or wet the gauze.
And then we pack it in so it doesn't stick to that flesh.
Wet to dry dressing.
Wet to dry, right.
Even with the
So
non-stick
wet,
gauze.
dry. Yeah, you can do it with the, but you're not gonna use non-stick gauze pack. You're gonna do just regular gauze.
But you're not going to pack gauze in there if you're going to close it up with sutures, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. I'm just saying if we choose, we're not
Right,
closing this
right.
yet. It
Gotcha.
may be a delayed closure.
Yeah.
Or we've just chosen, hey, we don't have the skill to close this or the equipment, so we're gonna have to let it heal that way.
A really good book to buy, and I don't know why I didn't think about this earlier. If you can find a used nursing med surge book, just like just basic, it is just say nursing, med surge, or basic nursing. And you can find in that garage sales, Goodwill. I've bought used books at Goodwill because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is an old nursing book. I'm gonna get it. And a lot of those, they have the pictures and the step-by-step process, because what he's talking about, that long-term care, I mean, that's what you do when you're in the hospital, when you're at a rehab facility. You do those wet to dry dressings twice a day for the whole time that the patients are in the hospital. And then they go to a rehab facility and they continue that care. And it's really, really important, the long-term care.
You find a lot of those manuals, like
Yeah.
the medication manuals,
Yep.
too, because they change so fast
They do.
that, you know, they have to update them. Well, I mean, a year-old one for us would, yeah.
Okay, fine, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you're talking $1.99 for a hardback.
Just like a staple gun, right? And then we want to go here and measure, and you're about an inch away. See how that closed it? See our spacing? See, I let up a little bit, but those are in there, right? And you want to just push it down, inch away. Push
Hey,
down.
Chuck, how does that feel with no lidocaine as opposed to sutures?
You ever stuck a staple in your hand?
Yeah.
Feels like that.
And that's one thing you should think about too. If you got a closed wound with no lidocaine, the
Might be
staple's
empty.
gonna go faster than suturing.
Let's see. Yep, it's empty. Let me get another one.
Way to go, Jake. Pour it up.
So you all practice, go ahead. Practice putting your staples in here. Remember, about an inch apart. If you haven't done it yet, get in there. Any of these cuts, go ahead. Now, what are you gonna need to get these out? Staple puller. And what it does, it's got two little prongs. It goes in, it spreads this, because what these staples do is they go in and they curve in like this, okay? So the prongs go in and curve in with that staple puller to hold it in, obviously, into the skin. So that staple puller, when it goes in, it pushes out on the sides to straighten them up and pull them straight out.
This is really easy.
Honestly, yeah.
I think I
Remember
got it.
what I said yesterday?
It's not rocket science.
Exactly.
Very cool.
It's a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of care. Because anybody, you could go in, but did you know to really thoroughly flush this wound out with a ton of water, saline, whatever it is, clean it out, get all debris, and then once we close this up, and see all these right here? That was actually, this is a pad I used at Self-Reliance Festival that I walk people up and go, what's that? It's a skin staple. Here, let me show you. In 5 minutes, they're putting staples in. Now, obviously, we didn't go into the wound care and all that. I'm just letting them play with it to create interest and
Right.
stuff like that. But this is something that you can learn, and it's not too hard. Now, is it preferable to, am I certifying you in this? No. This is for demonstration purposes only, and what you do in your own home is up to you. But you can buy these on Amazon. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and as far as like cleaning it out, that's all stuff that kind of makes sense. I mean, it's
Common sense,
common
right?
sense, but when you're in that situation and you're panicked, common sense is not always there, you know, and you got to
Bleeding's gonna
stop.
Stop. Most venous blood, the ones that we're really concerned with bleeding and wound care is, you know,
thing up.
is a tourniquet.
Jason can't staple.
Why is it not?
We don't want him in charge of our medical care. You got it right
It's
there.
not- yeah, but they're sticking up.
I think they're supposed to a little bit.
They do. See how that one's
See?
going? So we push. I twisted my hand, got
Those beautiful ones, everybody but Jason.
I got an air stapler.
But it's closing it up, right?
Right.
And they use staples a lot in the head. You know why? Holds better.
My sister had them.
And-
You can't see the scar.
I think it's-
exactly.
right,
You don't see the
right.
scar, and it's quick and easy. And the skin is much thinner on top with the skull and stuff.
Hey everybody. So, we had a very eventful 2 days in this training. I can't, if you have the opportunity to take a training like this, and honestly, this was an like advanced. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm not any of those things. I am a first responder where I work, and I've been through, you know, first aid, CPR, AED training several times. But this is like the next step. It's like, okay, I've put that tourniquet on, and what do I do now? Or long-term wound care. That was the biggest thing that I felt like was beneficial to me. If you all are interested in anything like that, I will put a link to Chuck down below. Yeah, he gave me his email address, so I'll put his email address down below. And if you have like a group of people that you want to be trained, Chuck actually trains trauma nurses and EMTs. He teaches all different kinds of classes. Very knowledgeable guy. He has done the work that he does in, you know, like he was at Hurricane Katrina, and he was down in Puerto Rico, and they're just all different kinds of disaster scenarios or whatever that he's been a part of and helped in, and or you know, done medical stuff in. The dude knows his stuff. So if you're interested in taking a class or whatever, you can reach out to him. He is actually located in West Virginia, but he'll travel around and all that kind of stuff. So get a group together of your friends and check him out. Some highlights from this weekend, and I actually had to leave early today because my company, we're having our year-end. Normally we do this in December, but we're having our year-end banquet tonight, and so I got to get home and get ready for that and head out for that. But some of the highlights from this weekend, I really enjoyed learning how to do, we didn't do sutures as in sewing something up or whatever, even though I kind of feel like I could do that now just based on, you know, things that I learned in that class. But we did do stapling and, you know, closing a wound with staples, and Jason actually let me staple his arm. I don't know why. I think he I don't know, but it is remarkably easy to do it. I put a staple in and removed it, and if you check out, there's on Kentucky Sustainable Living, I think it was like it was one of the live videos that happened today. It was I don't know, maybe the third video that was on there for today. You can see me stapling his arm and then removing the staple, but I feel better about being able to do things like that to close up a wound. We learned a lot about assessment and how to properly assess what's going on. And again, this is kind of like things that maybe you're not close to medical care. Maybe you know, maybe something's happened and you can't get to a hospital or something like that. These are things that you can learn how to do to help in those kind of situations. Today we learned about, we did a lot of hands-on today. Yesterday was a lot of kind of lecture, and mainly, I mean, we spent a lot of time talking about assessment and reassessing, and you're constantly doing that when somebody is in your care, long-term care or whatever. You're always assessing an injury or you know, them as a whole person. But today we did a lot of hands-on stuff, like using a SAM splint to splint arms and legs. You saw that in the video. We also practiced some more on packing wounds with gauze. We learned about chest seals. If you have you know, like a chest wound that air is getting, a sucking chest wound is what it's called. It's getting in, or air is getting in and out. We learned how to seal those up. learned putting splints on legs. We learned how, if you have like a mid-femoral break in your leg, your upper thigh, that femur bone, we learned how to put a leg in traction to pull that apart so, you know, it'll go back together quickly or correctly. And again, this is not, yeah, I'm going to stop going to the doctor and I'm going to practice my own medicine. That is not what this is. This is just learning extra care. You know, we're on a farm and things happen on a farm. And to be honest, I am more likely, I think I kind of feel like people go to these classes to learn all of this kind of stuff, you know, just to have that degree of confidence, you know, depending on, you don't know how long it's going to take to get care or whatever, and you have that degree of confidence that hopefully the person that's injured is not going to have anything really, really horrible happen while they're under your care. And, you know, that's kind of my intent with this as well. I don't feel like that I could be wrong, but I don't feel like I'm ever going to be faced with, you know, like a gunshot wound or something like that. You might endure something like that in a city or whatever. I'm not saying that it would never happen, but I do know that, you know, like our property is on a hillside, and when the weather is inclement or whatever, it's not safe to get out there and walk around always. If there's a lot of ice and snow, we have farm animals, and today Randy was out there, and Randy was out there messing with the pigs, and if, you know, something spooks one of the pigs or they get riled up, they're big animals. They could knock him down in the ground or step on his foot and break toes or, you know, whatever. There's all kinds of things that can happen on a farm. And now, after having gone through this class, I feel a little bit better prepared. Again, I'm not a doctor. I can't fix everything, but I feel a little bit better prepared to help with accidents on the homestead. I totally feel like this class was worth it, and I highly recommend everybody go and do this kind of class. You know, we've got our daughters and we've got grandkids, and sometimes they're, you know, they do crazy stuff. They jump off of things. So where can you find Chuck? Like I said, I'll put his email link in the description down below. But Chuck is, I think he's starting a YouTube channel, but he doesn't have it set up yet. I'm not 100% sure. Chuck goes to Self-Reliance Festival that is in Camden, Tennessee at Special Operations Equipment. And so if you look up Special Operations Equipment on YouTube, they do have a YouTube channel. So you can actually meet Chuck at the Self-Reliance Festival. He does the medic stuff, like he's the medic for the festival, or he was the last time I was there. I don't know if he's always the medic, but any kind of, you know, anybody gets hurt or needs a band-aid, or you know, like their blood pressure shoots up, whatever, Chuck takes care of that. So you can meet him there. I think he also does one of the sessions where he does a talk about you know, care and all that kind of stuff. So I think the next Self-Reliance Festival is in March. I want to say the 20th and the 21st, but I could be totally wrong. But if you look it up, just Google Self-Reliance Festival, Camden, Tennessee. It'll come up. You'll be able to see when the next one is, and you can go check him out there. You can email him. He also creates kits, so you can call him up and he'll create a custom kit for you. So if you say, I want this to, I want a kit to keep in my car, or I have a homestead and I want a kit to keep out in my barn, you just let him know what you're going to use it for, and he will create a custom kit for you. And it's actually not, he said it's not really any more expensive than buying, you know, like a pre-made kit that you would order from a company or whatever. But he can do that for you. Just reach out to him and check him out. He's got tons of great information. Really good guy. I really enjoyed these 2 classes. It was totally worth the cost, and I feel that much more prepared. So anyways, I hope y'all have a fantastic weekend. Sorry I haven't been on here for a while. It was just, I don't know, getting through the holidays, and I just needed a little bit of a break. But now we're getting ready to start planting and everything for the new growing season. So you're probably going to be seeing a lot more of me. And I got a few video ideas in mind, so just stay tuned. I'll see y'all later. Have a blessed day. Yeah, God bless you. Have a great day.